Hey, good afternoon. We're here with David Keel from C4di in Hull. How are you doing, David?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thanks very much. It's quite a nice day out there.
Beautiful. I can see the background there, and you've got the deep in the background. Fantastic location. So looking forward to this interview. So to kick things off, if you could give us a little bit of background as to who you are, what you do, and how long you've been doing it for, please.
Okay, wow. How long is a difficult one. But I'm Dave Keel. I'm currently sitting here as chair of the C4di. C4di means Centre for Digital Innovation. And we are probably the biggest, and maybe even the only, privately funded tech accelerator in the UK. We've created a complete tech campus in Hull. We're just putting up our fifth building on the campus. And I'm chair there. My background is that I started working in the print industry as used to be called a commercial artist and in the 60s. Now we're called graphic designers, ended up on the board of the printers, recognized that print was becoming commoditized and I didn't want to be part of a pounds per square inch industry. So created a company called Trident. That was a startup using CGI, computer graphics, to do all of the graphical things that printers needed, and grew it from a couple of people to 750 people, global company with offices all around the world, Guangzhou, Singapore, Cincinnati, Coimbatore, Mexico City. Wonderful thing was you go to a Skype to any of those companies and you get a whole accent answering you, which was superb. Yeah. And but realized when I was due to retire 7 years ago, but I'd probably lost a lot of my interest and excitement once we got past about 10 people. So the idea of being involved in the C4di, which is all about growing businesses, to 10 people and beyond as rapidly as possible, I couldn't say no. So I'm now officially referred to as a TWAT, TWAT. I work on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, and I'm the chair here. I'm not the type of chair that comes in once every 2 months and strokes the chins and tries to say something wise. I'm heavily involved in a lot of the startups here.
Brilliant. Thank you. It's a great introduction there. So in terms of looking at C4di over the last sort of 3 or 4 years, and we like to get a point of view, different sectors, different people through the pandemic and what happened there. What was the biggest impact of it for you guys there?
Well, I mean, I can remember it really clearly, as everyone can. Where were you when you first heard about lockdown is probably going to be a phrase we use a lot in the future. It sent us into a spiral for about the first 2 weeks, the team who run the place. I don't know if anybody remembers, but I think lockdown more or less occurred on Mother's Day. And I think it was Mother's Day. That'll do for now anyway, for the narrative. And and I remember saying, after we'd had lockdown for a week, do you realize that Mother's Day was only a week ago? It's like, it felt like a year had gone by because we were still trying to find our feet. But very quickly, we brushed ourselves down. And we've always said as an organization, the C4di, that every business is digital, just that most of them just don't know it yet. And our role is to help them find out what's digital about them and how to leverage that before somebody else does. And so we changed that. And we says, actually, moving forward, every business is in the video business. And most of them just don't know it yet. Because just like we are now, we're online. And for the first month or two of lockdown, it was either an unmade bed, a dog running around in the background, children climbing all over the place, or some sort of wild and wonderful outer space background, none of which suggested professionalism. And so we built a state-of-the-art media suite to get us through this. And basically, it's incredible media suite. Holds, I guess, 150 people, high-res video, audio, broadcast facilities, and it's just a beautiful looking place. And so now that's used quite a lot, as we intended, but some of the big industries we work with some of the biggest companies, the best loved brands in the world, helping them with their innovation programs. they'll come to the C4di, use the media suite to say do town hall meetings, where their directors will sit in the media suite and broadcast the latest results or the latest messages or objectives to the rest of the business from that point. So it's been a good investment for us. And it was lockdown that kind of prompted us to do it. You have to look good online in order to create a professional business.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. I mean, I was going to ask you, are there a couple of actions that came out of that in terms of the way of working, but you've revealed that in terms of developing that media suite.
We even did something which was quite interesting. So we recognized that a couple of members of the team, just as soon as we're on a video call, just were really uncomfortable. It just wasn't them. And so we brought in drama coaches and theatrical coaches to work with them. And now, if you look at any of the C4di events online, it's like you've got Trisha or somebody running it. So yeah, it's been a really worthwhile investment.
Thank you for that. So what does the future look like for C4di? And what do you see as the main challenges are going ahead from what is predictable at the moment?
Okay, it's really interesting. So C4di is probably, as I say, the UK's largest and maybe even the only privately funded tech accelerator. And in Hull, everybody thinks every city's got a C4di. Outside of Hull, every city is looking at the C4di and thinking, that is amazing, we need one. So at the moment, we're now dealing with that interest. Lots of people want a C4di in their city.
Yeah.
We've just opened one in Northallerton. It's a stunning, beautiful place. There are always going to be, C4dis are always going to be beautiful buildings. The idea being that if you're working at home in a garage or a bedroom trying to do your startup, we're going to give you millionaires' offices. And if you feel successful, you usually are successful. And so you're going to be able to meet your customer in this beautiful boardroom that we're sitting in now. And so the one in Northallerton, we've converted our partners, Wykeland, who are the property development company, have converted a Victorian prison into a centre for digital innovation. One of our biggest customers or clients that we work with is asking us to set up a C4di in there. We've just completed all the legals on setting up a C4di in Poland. And we think there'll be another one this year in the north of England. We're particularly focused on the north of England. It was really interesting because before COVID, there's another COVID thing. People say, why Hull? And I think after COVID, people are now saying, well, why London? Why not be in Hull? Because from a technology point of view, you can be anywhere. So it's going to be, the next year or so is going to be more C4dis and bigger C4dis.
Fantastic. It sounds like an exciting future. Are there any challenges you could share? What are sort of the main challenges in trying to look at rolling out C4di to other places?
I think the biggest challenges for us are the biggest challenges in the industry at the moment. So it's a shortage of well-qualified technical people leaving the universities and colleges wanting to create businesses. So first of all, we need more technological people either to create the businesses or work in the businesses. And those who just want to work in the businesses, we want to help them understand the values of entrepreneurship and creating your own startup. We often use the phrase, instead of employability, we kind of try to help employerability. We try to help you become an employer. And so this is why we've moved out to Poland, because I know a lot of people probably think that the UK is somewhere in the top 3 or 4 in terms of technical competence in the world, and probably India's somewhere near there. Actually, if you get the figures out, China's number 1, Poland's number 2, and the UK, USA, and India are like number 20 something or other. So Poland is where the true software expertise or the true accessible software expertise really is. So that's why we've moved out to Poland. And it's now we're creating a soft landing for Polish tech companies who want to do business in the UK, because we can get to Poland quicker than we can get to London from Hull.
Yeah.
Crazy. And we're also introducing Polish technology, which is absolutely mind-blowing what's going on out there, to large UK brand owners. And then we're giving opportunities for people in the UK who want to leverage more Polish resource to do it via the C4di. So the challenge has always been trying to find the skilled resource to grow businesses as fast as they grow. I mean, when I was growing Trident, we were growing at 20% year on year without fail. And, you know, that means if you've got a couple of hundred people, you're kind of employing 40 or 50 people every year on that. It's like one person a week. You're on holiday. I mean, those sorts of skills create real talent problems. And we believe tapping into Poland will help us to solve that for not only ourselves, but a lot of the businesses we partner with.
So thank you for sharing that. It's good insight on that sort of partnership with Poland and the options, the opportunities that are available through you guys. So moving on to yourself then, and asking a little bit around lessons learned over the years through entrepreneurship, sort of actions that you've taken. What would you say if you could pick one? Well, I get a feeling there might be two or three here, which is fine. Would you pick out as your biggest lesson or biggest learning you could share since being in business?
Yeah, this is a difficult one, and I kind of feared you might ask something like this. From business, if I was ever trying to mentor anyone about to create a business, I would say the really simple thing: do the right thing, and the right things will follow and happen. That really means, you know, there is nothing to be gained from being an arrogant, bullying business owner, because all you're going to get is the type of people who react in a way that you believe is favorable to that. And that means you're building up the wrong business. You treat people with respect, treat people with dignity, always tell people why you're asking them to do something rather than particularly what you're asking them to do. And you're going to create a fantastic place to work. I mean, when I was running Trident, I was MD there. We run Sunday Times, Best Workplaces, Financial Times, Great Place to Work. I mean, loads of awards like that. The only company in the north of England at the time, the only company in our industry who won those. Do the right thing, and the right things will happen. Just treat people well.
Excellent. Good, simple, straightforward learning lesson there. Thank you. And another question that could lead on from that, in terms of advice to someone starting out in business, a younger person, and maybe reflective of what you just said, but if there's a piece of advice you could offer someone just starting out, say when they come to your tech hub, what is that? What could that be?
There's an interesting story behind this, because when I walked away from Trident, you know, Trident was doing at the time some very cutting edge technology stuff. When I came to the C4di, I thought, I'm really hoping I can keep up, because by that time I was mid-60s, you know, thinking I really hope I can keep up with some of the technology here, because these are bright people who come here. Yeah. And I was preparing myself almost daily for really intense questions about some aspect of technology. But actually, type of questions that I got were, I've got to the stage where I need to employ someone, but I don't think I can give them a job for life. What do you think I should do? I mean, such basic questions. And I would say, if there's the advice I've given to most people, is usually boiled down to, despite the technology that I've worked in, and I'm part of a major investor in another technology startup myself in here. But the advice I'd give most people is, you know, turn up on time, wear a suit or have a wash, comb your hair. And if you've got the world's greatest bit of technology, don't turn up with it in an old Asda carrier bag that's been used a dozen times. It's some of the real basics that people who are so clever just forget about.
Good advice. The fundamentals and principles of life, they never really change, do they? Amongst all the fast-moving technological developments that go on at the moment, there's still fundamental rules.
We've taken people to some of the biggest brands in the world to show them some technology, And the people have turned up late and literally have had technology in an old carrier bag because no one's told them not to. It's never been a consequence to them. So, sure. If you're asking a big brand to invest in you, they need to sense some form of stability. And so just do your best. It's so fashioned and it's almost Dickensian, but sadly it's true.
Makes a difference. Thank you very much for that. So in terms of what inspires you to do what you do, I can sort of hazard a guess, I think, with the area that you work in and the people that you're working with. But if you'd like to share any inspiration, for working at C4di, what is it that inspires you there?
It's just technology being the art of the possible. Well, where we get the biggest kicks from. So if I go back to Trident, when we created Trident, we were turning over 75 million. We probably had 20 customers. Unilever, L'Oreal, Procter & Gamble, the biggest brands in the world. And so always, if you can get contracts with the biggest brands in the world, that's great. Provided you can wait 100 days for your money, they're not going to go bust. They're going to be around and they're going to pay the bills. So there's a little bit of that involved in the C4di, but equally, these biggest companies cannot move as fast as the small startups here. Yeah. So what always amazes me is I've come from a background where a company might have, a brand owner might have an idea for a new product, and maybe 12 to 18 months later, you might see it on shelf. And, the businesses here are doing that in 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't matter because you haven't wasted a year and a half, they'll just move on. And so a lot of the work we're doing with the big brands is saying, we can help you to prove whether it's worth investing this year and a half into getting a new product on shelf by accelerating the process. Fantastic. So it's helping the brands to use digital to leverage and speed up their innovations.
Superb, thank you. So lastly, in terms of any latest news around what you're up to, I think we've covered a fair bit, but if there's even just a website to share, if people are interested in finding out a bit more about C4di and potentially yourself and your team, feel free to share away.
Okay, well, I would, it's difficult. I'm probably going to give you the C4di website address and get it wrong because it's kind of just built into the memory of my browser. But I'd suggest you kind of Google c4di.com, I would hope, but if it's not .com, it's going to be something pretty close to it. And you'll see an awful lot about us. It's a small team, but a team with a fantastic background of supporting big brands, and by supporting big brands, by introducing them to small startups who can move in an agile way. And we're looking forward next year. We'll certainly see a lot more growth in Poland because now the legals are out of the way. We can start to really get to work on that. And it will see the C4di being involved on a much larger scale with the political digital future of the north of England, because of some announcements that are going to be made next year regarding coming out with the DCMS, basically. And we're going to have a heavy part to play with that with regard to expanding the growth of digital in the north.
Brilliant. Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much for your time and all the shares that you've given us. I wish you all the best for the future.
Thank you very much indeed. It's been very enjoyable and the sun's still kind of shining.
Yeah. Thank you.